Hey there, Chaos Crew! So welcome to another episode of Minxy's Mischief Hour, where chaos meets creativity when we dive into the world of all the geeky goodness. So today I actually have a very special guest with me. So we have Corissa Grant, an amazing writer and creator of comic books. Corissa is not only a very talented creator, but also an inspiring figure in the comic book world. She is dyslexic and started role-playing online to learn how to write better. After 17 years of role-playing, she wrote 13 novels as a co-writer, and in the past year and a half, she's already releasing her 11th comic book issue. How incredible is that? So Carissa's been voted a favorite indie comic, best indie writer, and best indie cover. And she's known as the merch queen. If anyone can see her merch right there. Oh, I'm so jealous. We'll be diving into her journey, her projects, and of course the main characters and merch from her comics. So get comfy and get ready to listen to some very fantastic insights. Welcome, Corissa. How's it going?
Hi, thanks for having me on. And my puppy Anubis looks amazing on this camera. Usually he's hidden, so he looks fantastic.
I'm so glad. I love staring at him. Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, he looks so excited. I mean, I have this one too, but he's cute, but he's like angry. So like he's super angry, but then you've got like him in puppy form and he's like adorable.
Yeah. I'm going to call that one Mr. Grumps. It's kind of like those inverted octopuses that you can get with a smiley face and an angry face, and you just got the both of them there right next to each other. Grumpy Anubis. Did you not get enough souls today?
That's my mood on most days. Yeah, he needs. You know, it's funny because he has. I don't even know if I have him around here. He has a puppy. He has a hellhound. Here we go. His hellhound that he plays fetch with. So it's so funny because this puppy version is actually bigger as a hellhound. But in issue 5, he plays fetch. 4 or 5, he plays fetch with this hellhound. So it's kind of cute because he turns into this monster that's just like, oh, this dog wants to play fetch. But he's a hellhound, so he's just a dog, but you know. Yeah. So he's adorable. But yeah, I'm a merch queen.
Where can I get one?
Yeah, so these are all in my Kickstarter. I think there's only one left of this one. But there's a lot of. I think there's one of the hellhounds. So these are actually a collector. They're handmade. So there's not many of these. These are commercially made. And we've got like 50 of these left. But yeah, so he's cute because his little headdress comes off. I like him with it, but
that is
it actually goes. It snaps behind.
That's
him.
like better than the Eevee dolls that you can get.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
Right? His own Pokemon, yeah. And it's kind of funny because when I first started, I started a year and a half ago, and I jumped into this with like no knowledge whatsoever, and I still don't know much, but I know a little bit more than I did. But I got made fun of by other creators. They're like, "You're new, and you've got why do you have merch?" And I was like, I was honest every time. I was like, well, I wanted it, and now it's tax deductible because I'm selling it to you. So all the merch I have is because I wanted it first. So
that's a completely logical reason. I don't see anything wrong with that.
Right?
Wonderful.
Yeah, I thought that was a good reason. Yeah.
Tell everyone a little bit about your comic books and actually how you got started in writing and creating these comic books initially.
So how I started was, and many might not know this game, some might know it. So I played, actually, if you want to start from the beginning, I saw a commercial for an alligator coming out of a sewer, and it was for a game Resident Evil 2, like the original. And I didn't even own PlayStation. I had to buy PlayStation to rent this game to play it. That's how obsessed I was with this freaking commercial. And I got so obsessed with the game that the main character, Claire Redfield, I role-played her online for 17 years. And because I was dyslexic, I started as a one-liner, which now I can't imagine how I did that, because one line is like insane. But
yeah,
for 2 years I did one line, then I did para, then I did multi-para. So I went from one line to now sitting down and writing 3,000 to 6,000 words at once. So I obviously got a little better at one-liners. During that time, I met my co-writer, and we were role-playing with other characters. And I said, and I never did this. In 17 years, I had many, many amazing writers. But there was something about her. I call her my soul writer, because there's something about her that as soon as I met her, I was like, I've known you for like, I've read with people for 2 years that were amazing, absolutely phenomenal writers. And I just, and they wanted the story. I just could not see giving it to them. It was like, I don't know, I was holding on to this story for so long. And then she came along and like 24 hours into it even. I was like, hey, I never give roles. Do you want to role play this character? And she's like, I never take roles, but yes, I do. So it was like, I went to like a 4,000 word starter, a chapter, and that was it. That was nonstop. We stopped role playing with other people completely. And we just kept writing with each other. And after, I think it was after a year, we had 5 novels at that point.
Wow.
So I was like, you know what? And it was a complete story. That was 5, and we continued it. But there was a good story. It was a good complete. I was like, this is such a wasted talent. It's such a good story, great characters. But we can't release them as novels because, one, I'm a horrible writer. She's not. She's an amazing writer. She's a horrible one. This is not imposter syndrome. I really am a horrible writer, but I have amazing writing ideas. I could write a really amazing story. It just isn't. She can write a novel. I cannot. So I'm like, well, how do I do this? Like, what do I do with it? It's I love this story. I'm obsessed with it. So I'm just like, all right, I'll just print it as a novel for us. I'll print it for us. We'll get a cover. We'll celebrate that we finished these 5 novels, and we'll do that. So I went to look for a cover artist, and they were all very cartoony. So I had asked, do you mind cartoony? Because we've been going off, when you role play, you use actors in mind. So like it's more realistic. So I was like, do you want to go realistic? Do you want to? She's like, no, cartoony's fine. I'm like, a light bulb went off. And I said, stupidest words I could have said. Do you want to try making a comic book? How hard could it be? It's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
Famous last words.
But jumped on it, and famous last words. It was. Yeah, I'm so glad we did it, but it was like, I was so naive. How could it be? It just cost me a fortune. But so what makes our story a little bit unique is because of the way we started as a role player. So how it works is I write a chapter, and then I write in Seraphina's, which is the main character's point of view. So she's talking, she's speaking to Draven. But I don't have any messages back. I'm writing this chapter as if I'm talking to this person. Then my co-writer will send back her chapter in Draven's point of view. So when you're reading the comic book, everything Seraphina I wrote, and everything Draven she wrote. So there's 2 completely different personalities when you're reading it, and you can tell because my character's like me. She can talk nonstop and barely thinks, and her character thinks mostly and barely talks. So you can tell exactly who wrote. Everyone knows who wrote who. But you can tell because Draven, he mostly thoughts. Like he's got these huge thought bubbles in every page. And my chick has like thought bubbles, I think, in like 5. It's like 5 pages. I don't know. She doesn't think a lot. I always think it's funny because I wrote it first, so you would think that I would have some thought process, but no. She'll just say everything that pops in her head, and she's like me. So she's pretty much me. So yeah, that's how we got started. And since then we've written. Now we have 13 novels.
Incredible.
Which equals about 108 issues. So, but to for the comic world, the first 44 are a complete story. So like I can end it there. I'm even gonna have a disclaimer that at the end that says, if you want a happy ending, don't read the epilogue. Just stop here.
Give everyone the warning.
Yeah, like if you want to stop, I would stop now. I'm horribly famous for cliffhangers. I like to torture my characters, my readers, and they always want to kill me. And I'm just like, sorry. So that's how we roll. But if it gets popular enough or I can afford it, the next 30 issues are series 2, and that's also a complete, it continues, but it's like a complete story. So, but currently we're in the middle of writing series 3. And I think we're three novels into it, and I started the next two, and I'm working on their endings because I like to have their ending first before we like go into it. And then series 4 hasn't started yet. But that's going to be a crazy one because it's like a war between all the religious type, all the religions. So it's going to be Anubis and his army of mummies, and Hecate and Hades' army of zombies fighting with my characters against heaven and hell and like Celtic stuff, monsters and stuff. So there's a huge world there. It's all stuck in my head. I'm getting to it, but it's like, you know, we're still writing. I wrote like 6,000 words like last week. So
that's going to be a lot of characters to draw on one page.
So we're... Oh, that... Yeah, there's gonna be my artist is gonna kill me. Actually, I'm surprised he hasn't killed me because we're really far ahead when we release these, which is hard work for me. My wallet, I love it. But my wallet's not too thrilled because I can't sell them yet because I have to do, you know, I do a Kickstarter every other month, which no indie really, especially new indie does. So I have every other month, and I ship them out within 7 days of the Kickstarter ending. And usually people do it like months after. So it's totally weird. Creators think that I'm insane. They're not wrong. But I already have them made. So right now on Kickstarter, issue 11 is live until July 8th. And August 5th, 12 will be there. And then that one's a double issue. It's 44 pages. But we already are writing, or we're already drawing issue 17. So like we're way
amazing.
So a lot of people, when they do Kickstarter, they have this stupid disclaimer that says you are not guaranteed your rewards. You know, it's like what they write. So it says you're not guaranteed these rewards. You're just pledging to help this person out, which I hate that freaking disclaimer. I'm like, these are done. You're getting them. And a lot of indie people don't finish their series. Like I have a lot of comics that have like the first 3 issues and it's been like a year and a half. And there's been nothing. Yeah. A normal scene creator does like 4 a year. I do like 7 and 8. I would do about 7 or 8 a year. But my series is so long. I have to. Like if I don't do 8 a year, this would be like when I'm, you know, which isn't bad.
You might have
but we
to
still
start...
have series 3 and...
Yeah, you might have to start jumping on Patreon and selling it chapter by chapter.
Yeah, you know what? It's not a bad idea. Like, I might have to do that sometime because there's so many, and a lot of people, even though they want it monthly. If I had, the economy is really bad, so like my readers are like me, we're loyal but broke, you know. So like, if it improves, I get more readers, I could do monthly, and I would be happy to do monthly. But for now, I have to give them this tiny little buffer of a month to breathe before they jump back on. But yeah, so obviously I'm very obsessed with the story. I love the characters. And I get so obsessed with writing it, and it's unbelievable. People are like, oh, what's your process of writing? And I was like, I sit down and write. I have no thought process whatsoever before I start writing. And we're pretty convinced that the characters write it because we've actually, like, especially me, I've argued with my character, like, during a scene. Like, I was writing the scene.
The best writers do.
Oh, I remember it so clearly. I'm writing this scene, and this weird stuff's going on when she walks in this room, and these things are attached to her, and I was like, this doesn't make any sense. And I need to start over. And the character's like, no, keep writing. I was like, this makes no sense. I don't know where it's going. She's like, just keep writing. So I wrote the whole scene out. I was like, what the hell just happened? And it was awesome. It was an awesome scene. And I wanted to be one of my favorites, and I sent it to my card, and my card is like, what the hell? Where did this come from? I was like, I have no idea. She's like, where's it going? I was like, I have no idea. Like, it turned out to be a really cool scene, but like, I had no idea where it was going. And one of my many boxes is falling. There we go. I'm so glad the camera doesn't show the 50 boxes just on here. That they're all empty. I'm not going to die on camera. And that would give you good views though, because be like,
that would be very
on camera
interesting.
Under passion of work.
It'd be very unfortunate because I'm pretty sure everyone's going to hate me for you guys not being able to get your next comic books out. I'm pretty sure that was what would happen.
Oh, right. You know, it's so funny because I'm working on the scripts so that if I died, my husband will still release them. He won't know what to do with them. He'll have to give it to my friend that does it. My friend Lori does a comic too, The Path of the Pale Rider, which is amazing. But she's in charge because my co-writer won't know how to do the Kickstarters or anything. And so I told my husband he needs to use like my life insurance to finish the book. So here's hoping I don't have to go through my husband. But yeah, I want the story to be definitely done. Definitely 44. And then I'm hoping to do. I also have 5 in a prequel that are already written too, which are the most depressing issues ever. It's like because it's like it. So to give a little bit of story, since I talk nonstop about whatever, they're soulmates. So you have Seraphina, who's an angel descendant, and you have Draven, who's a demon descendant, and they're soulmates. And Seraphina was created from an angelic weapon from her angel and goddess mom. But after she was created from it, she absorbed it. And this demon who's been trying to get this weapon for centuries tried to steal it from her by killing her, and she just kept reincarnating. So he decided to create Draven to trick her into giving it to him, and instead he fell in love with her. And there's a prophecy that says if an angel and a demon ever fell in love, that they can never be separated, or a war between heaven and hell will start. But her father, something happened that I'm not allowed to spoil it because I got yelled at. So not allowed to spoil it, but something happened, and now the father, and I hint at it in issue 3, but the father needs the weapon back. And due to something that happened in the last life, the father tricked her guardian angel to betray them. And now the weapon is out in the world. So it's now a keychain. And she doesn't know it. It's a keychain. She gave it to Draven.
You've made it into a keychain for merch, right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, perfect. That's all you needed. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of them is secretly the real weapon, right? You've just delivered it to somebody's Kickstarter.
Yeah. No secrets online on air, so I can't say these things. But yes, one of them is live. But so this weapon, it has the power of souls, right? So if either side gets the weapon, heaven or hell, they can tip the scales in their favor and they can win the war. So they obviously want this weapon. However, they need Seraphina's soul to activate it. So if they activate it, she can never be reincarnated. So Draven will never see her again, or they can't have an afterlife. So obviously they're kind of against that.
Yes.
But so due to that, the father had tricked, the guardian angel in the last life, and now this is their new life. So the prequel shows how they met in this life. We're eventually going to write the past. Like I want to do, how the weapon was created and all that stuff. But the prequel is so depressing because they have to obviously keep being separated because the angels and demons want them separated. So they keep separating them. So it's not until now that they get to be together and try to go through this chaotic world where their fathers are after this weapon. And it's kind of like a horror love story, but it's not romantic in any way possible. But Draven is a secret romantic, so he never says any of it to her ever. Like she never. But he
all in the
thinks
thought
it.
bubbles.
Yeah, it is. It's like if you never had these thought bubbles, you would never know. You would think he's the biggest jerk in the world, and you would be like, how does Seraphina even like? But when you read these thought bubbles, and he's just like, she's my everything, and I can't exist without her, and all this stuff. So
and then he just goes, hey, pass me a sandwich.
It's just like he says like 2 words at a time. He's just like, okay, or whatever. He starts to talk a little bit more eventually, but it's just funny that he barely talks. He can be very sarcastic. Like my favorite scene in issue 1. So to give a little bit of the story without giving it away, like someone's like, you gave it all away. I was like, it's the first 8 pages. I just gave it. So to give a little of how it starts is you see Seraphina as a teenager, and her brother is possessed by a demon and kills her parents. And they were supposed to run. Seraphina and Draven were supposed to run away that night. So she's waiting for Draven to come back, and while she's waiting for him to come back to get her, she stumbles in as her brother is murdering her parents. right?
Yeah.
So he goes after her, and she gets mortally wounded. She gets wounded really badly, and she jumps out the back window, and she's trying to get to Draven. Draven comes from, she calls him and says, "Don't come," which of course is the first thing he does is race over to her house. He goes through the front door. She jumps out the back window. He's searching for her, and he slips on her blood, calls her name, and she turns around. And as she turns around, she gets hit by a car and gets taken away to another city. So they no idea. He has no idea she's alive. She has no idea he's alive. And he gets arrested for her murder. So that's.
And to anyone listening, it's really not a spoiler. I just read it. It actually is in the first 8 pages. There's a lot happened in the first 8 pages. I was just like, this just jumped right into it. And
it jumped right in. Yeah.
To anyone that's ever read the Darren Shan Demonata series, that's exactly what happened. I was like, oh God, this just went right there. Everybody's dead all of a sudden. What just happened?
Everyone's dead. Everyone's unhappy. Everyone's miserable. There's a 10-year gap where they thought each other was dead. Draven trained as an assassin, and she trained as a supernatural hunter for anyone that's seen Supernatural. And so they've been kept separate for these 10 years. And they couldn't find her because he has the weapon. So it's not activated. They have no idea where she is. She's kind of doing her own thing. And then something happens that sets off this catastrophic, situation where they're both placed in this town. And now that they're placed in this town, their fathers are like, let's merge it with hell and trap you in here and all this stuff. So now they're trapped in this town of hell where they're trying to get her. And there's only a certain way you can kill her, because you can't just kill her, otherwise she'll just reincarnate or go to, whatever. So you have to do a ritual, you have to steal her soul, you have to do all of this stuff. So there's like this whole survival thing where they're trying to survive against hellhounds and ghosts and zombies, and Anubis gets thrown into this and all this fun stuff. And I got yelled at because
I will admit, the hellhound that you have in your picture frame that I saw earlier is not very threatening.
No. That's not the same hellhound as There's actually a pack of hellhounds, and then there's the cute hellhound, which I can tell you a backstory that nobody knows if you want it exclusive. So you can see the little horde is broken. So what happened was he was the leader of the pack of hellhounds. Draven's father came in, beat up our poor hellhound to take leadership of the pack. So he got kicked out of the pack. So he's just like wandering. He's got a broken horn. He can't shoot fire. He's just this poor little thing. So he kind of just watches the pack like this lonely little hellhound. I know, it's so sad. I felt so bad. So Anubis is fighting a hellhound that is now controlled by Draven's father. And the hellhound just brings a stick over to Anubis. And Anubis is like, what the hell is this? And throws it. And the dog's like, okay. And he runs after it and brings it back. And Anubis is like, what are you doing? And he just throws it and brings it back. So after that, the hellhound literally just follows Anubis around. Like, Anubis finally acknowledges him, but mostly the hellhound just follows him around with a stick in his mouth. It's the cutest thing ever. It was not in the novels. I added it for the comic book, and it wasn't intentional. It was just like, it would be really cute playing, fetch. And it's kind of funny how it happened, because we're writing the story while I'm making the comics. So in a later story, the hellhounds came out, and I was just like, I love this hellhound. And nobody knows his name, so I'm going to tell you his name because it's the stupidest name ever. So nobody knows it because it happens later in the story, and we changed it for the comic book. His name is Croc because hellhounds are poisonous to angels. And there's this gorgeous red gem called, I'm probably saying it wrong, so you can all kill me later. It's like crocolite or something like that. But it's this gorgeous red gem that if you hold too much is poisonous. It's like gorgeous, but it's poisonous. So she sees the hellhound and he's red and he's gorgeous, and she says, you're just like crocolite, I'm going to call you Croc. So nobody knows why this poor thing is called Croc, because it's obviously not a crocodile. But he's called Croc, and he's the sweetest thing, and I absolutely love him. And I got yelled at by a few people that are like, you have Anubis as a monster. Anubis is not a monster. He's the god of the underworld, and the dead, and all that. It's like, I know. He's being controlled by the father. There are hints to it. He has a remote. It comes out. I think issue 7, you know for sure he's got this remote. But you can kind of see Anubis start to kind of feel bad for Seraphina. Like in issue 12, which has not come out yet, he's trying to help her. And obviously she doesn't know. She's like, fighting against him. And he's just like, he doesn't talk. Anubis doesn't talk. Which I feel bad about because I just could not give the god of death a voice. I just couldn't do it. So he's kind of like Groot. He just growls. He'll growl, and certain people understand what he's saying.
When you get to the very, very last comic book, right at the end, he can just say, man, that shit went real. Just say the only one line. That's one line.
I'm gonna do that silent bomb. I'm totally gonna have to do that. Yeah, I'm gonna have one line being like, wow, that was a hell of a ride. Like something like really crazy. Yeah, I like that. I'm absolutely gonna do that.
Shit got real, guys.
Yeah, that's absolutely gonna happen, and I'm gonna credit you. I'm gonna have a little asterisk that says, blame her. This is her legacy of my comic book.
I just need that screen of the. I just need that screen of the comment as my background screen. Just put it as my background screen. Just that strip of the comic.
Yeah, I'm totally gonna do that, and I could blame something really stupid like. Yeah, I'm totally gonna do that. But yeah, obviously, the comic is very fast-paced, especially the first two are the worst. They are very fast-paced, very chaotic, very crazy. And I've been told like it's nonstop. It's like it evens out, but it does never stop. They do have slight moments of happiness, but just be warned that's a sign that it's gonna go worse. And I have really invested readers. Like I have to say, my letter is the worst. He's super invested, and he's just like I don't have him. Yeah, I don't have my plushie of Chat. So there's a character named Chatty. Okay, he comes in issue 10. He's effing adorable. He's like chameleon and vampire bat. So he's half chameleon, half vampire bat. So it's a vampire bat that can merge with the background, which makes him terrifying.
Okay.
But he gets caught in a door, and Seraphina, being the angel that she is, even though she curses like a freaking warhorse, she helps him. Even though Draven's like, don't do it. It's a monster. Don't do it. She's like, I have to. So he's squeaking up a storm, and so she helps him, and she's got this little chameleon in her hand with wings, and he's just squeaking away, and she's like, all right, chameleon, baddie, and he won't shut up, so we're gonna name you Chatty. Cutest freaking thing on the planet. I love him to death. Total marketing ploy, I know, but he's adorable. So he was supposed to be like a one-time thing. Like he's there and he leaves, but he's just so freaking adorable. So he also follows her around, and they get separated. So every time he sees her, he winds up with Anubis, and every time he sees her, he flies towards her and always misses her. So you get like a really sad chameleon-looking thing, and he's just like, this cutest little thing. He only squeaks. He doesn't do anything. It's so funny because Anubis growls, Hellhound whines. Hellhound whines or howls, and then Chatty just squeaks.
So their dinner parties are really not that fascinating.
The easiest dialogue ever. Yeah, not really. So he goes. I told him what happens in a later issue, which I obviously can't say here, and he freaks out, and he's just like, "But Chatty's okay, right?" I was like, "Yes, for now, Chatty is okay." So he was getting really invested, and then I let somebody read issue 11 early yesterday or 2 days ago, and he wanted to kill me. He's like, how can you end it with that kind of cliffhanger? I hate you. He goes, I hate you so much, I need therapy now, and how could you do this to me? And I was like, listen, it'll be fine. My artist is the same way. He's like, what did you just do? I was like, listen, there's 108 issues. She's obviously going to eventually be okay. Just hang in there. There's lots. I torture my characters to death. It's awful.
And it sounds like you torture your readers just as much.
Oh, I drive them crazy. They're gonna kill me with so issues 14 through 22 was the original story I wrote myself. Obviously, I rewrote it again with my co-writer, but it's the only. It was novel for us. It was novel 3. It was the only one I wrote from the beginning. Like that was what I wanted. That was the story I had, and it's an inspiration from Resident Evil 2. So it's all zombies. There's a secret of what caused the zombies that you don't find out to the end. But so these are the ones that I want the most. I love them all, but 14 through 22 is my baby. That's like my baby. So we're drawing 17, and the way 16 ends, I know everyone's gonna kill me, and I can't wait for it. I can't show anybody. I showed like 2 people my letter. That's why he got mad at me. And I can't tell anybody. It drives me crazy. Where I'm like, I want to show you this page, but I can't show you. So yes, that's the biggest cliffhanger I think, except for the end of the end of issue 22. They'll probably kind of kill me, but not too bad. It's like everything's going to hell, but it's not the worst. So yeah. So yes, I do torture my readers, and I feel awful about it.
You put them through hell, almost quite
I had a lot
literally.
of clients. I own my own business. I do. Yeah, and it's funny because they actually go to hell in book 4 and 5. So yeah, there's a lot of hell stuff going on. But I have my own business, and I have clients who have never read comic books before in their life. But I obviously talk nonstop about it. And so they were kind of like, I need to read this. So I actually am backed by a few of my clients. And one of them wrote me, and I'll never forget it, was when I first released 1 through 3. And she's like, I read it 7 times. I need more. And I was like, well, sorry. 4 weeks, you can get another one. So they get very invested, which is very nice. But it just cracks me up how invested they get, because I'm the same way. And my co-writer tortures me. Because obviously I know what happens in my reply, in my chapter. And I want, my biggest thing is I want to know Raven's reaction to everything going on. So I'm dying to get her chapter back. And we started this a long time ago. We're so impatient that we needed teasers. Like, we don't want to wait. So we send teasers. She stops the teaser at the best part every time. And I'm just like, why do you torture me? She goes, because it gets me riled up to write more. And I was like, I hate you so much. Like, I love you and hate you all at the same time.
Motivation for each other.
For like, what,
no,
3
that's
hours straight,
fine.
and you haven't answered any questions. So go ahead. I know you have questions that I probably have answered somewhere in there, and I'm sure there's some that I haven't answered. So
no, that's fine. Like, I'm totally all for the ride. That's all good. But so I'm getting a concept of your favorite characters and the characters you like the most and things like that. If you just had to pick one, let's just say that the end of your series, everybody dies but one character. Who are you keeping?
That's harsh.
Just pretend the world imploded and like one person gets to survive.
Yeah. It kind of
Please, no ideas from that.
So I can't.
No ideas from that, because your readers and your readers are not gonna like me very much.
Oh, they will kill you. Yeah. So I can't do Seraphina or Draven because they can't be without each other. And I would have to say Chatty. Chatty has to live. Like, and he's gonna be so sad. And that's really mean, because he's just gonna be like this little thing staring at their graves and like being all upset. But like everyone else would be like heartbroken. It could be like, I love Chatty and he's so adorable. Like, they're all like, the Hellhound's adorable too, but like, he's a Hellhound. He can travel in and out of hell. He's fine. But Chatty, like, if I killed out Chatty, I think they would literally be like a revolt. Like, I think that they would be like, what did you do? It would be like killing Daryl on The Walking Dead. Like, it would be like this, you can't kill Chatty thing. Because he's so adorable. There's a scene, it felt so bad writing this. There's a scene in, is it 13?
I think it was kind of like with Glenn, to be honest, with Walking Dead. As soon as they killed Glenn, apparently half their viewership just stopped watching.
I loved Glenn.
It was so good. So good.
Because you know what? I don't care if he died in the comic book, because they killed characters that didn't die in the comic book. So you can't go by the comic book. I missed Glenn. I stopped watching because I was always a Carol and Daryl shipper. Mm-hmm. So when the cave collapsed and they stopped talking to each other, their relationship was never the same. I stopped watching. I was like, they're never together. I can't deal with you. That's it. Chatty will have to live, and he'll be sad, and we'll figure something out for Chatty. But I just feel like that if he was killed, because this one scene, I think this is what my letter was upset about. There's a scene 14 where Seraphina has no idea that Chatty is even following her, because they got separated like while ago, but he's hanging out with Anubis as he's being stalking her. So she gets in a car and she's driving away, and Chatty like flies after her, and then the car just vanishes because it went too fast, and he just trumps on the ground. He looks all sad. Anubis picks him up, and he's like, "Where's following?" And he's just like, they go after it, but he just looks so bad. Like, I felt bad. I wrote it. So yeah. So and it's really funny because what people might not know about the story, because I will never let them read it. Anubis, Hellhound, and Chatty are not in the novel. They just kind of like arrived, and it fit so well, and I just needed them in there. So I've been writing them as they go. So I don't even know what part they have. Like I just added them to like the rest of the series, and I was just like, they fit so perfectly in there. You know, they're kind of stalking them, they're kind of getting them. They're helping them back.
I'm feeling a funny vibe that Chatty's gonna swallow this keychain at some point by accident.
Yeah. We should have like the guardian bit at the end, like it's curled his little tail or something. But yeah, so Chatty is he's sold right away. I might have to get him commercially made, because in the last campaign I had 2 of them and they both sold, and one of them was mine. Like usually I put one and then it sold so fast that my friend wanted it. Like, how did someone get it before me? Fine, now I have to get another one made for me, and I'm just like, bought my Chatty, man. So now I'm without a Chatty, and he's gonna have to get made for me. But yeah, so he's just, I can't help it. He's just adorable. But it was so weird that these weren't in the books, and I need them now. Now that they're in there, like how were they not in there? And I did have one, and he was killed off. So in the prequel, there's Mouse named Apollo. And he'll probably be revived at one point, because if anyone reads the prequel, they'll kill me when he's not there at the end. You don't see him get killed, but he's so I just gave that away because now he's in the prequel. But he's this little rat. He was supposed to be like the main thing, and it didn't fit in with the story. But now that I have Chatty in there, I was like, well, how do I have both of them? My friend's like, you have to have both. I was like, it's gonna be like a zoo following behind my camera. Like I wanted a baby dragon, she wouldn't let me. So now we have Chatty, and then he worked out perfectly because he's just this little chameleon with wings and fangs. And it's just so cute. And so I love him. But yeah, so we'll survive Chatty, I guess. We'll let that go. My letter will
that
fire
sounds
me
great.
for sure.
At the moment, I'm voting for
like
I'm voting for Chatty too.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Like Chatty wins. He'll be the one telling the story, and you find out he's the one telling you the story. So yeah,
that's so good. All right,
that was like 40 minutes of 2 questions.
That's so good. I'm loving it. Okay, so you've told us a lot about the actual book, and you've told us about the story, the development, the comic book, everything else in between. So now I actually want to hear a little bit more about yourself and your team. So you received or got voted for favorite indie comic, best indie writer, and best indie cover. How did that come about? How did it feel to get the recognition?
So I didn't even know I was included in it. Somebody added me, and they had to vote to be added. So I had sent the link to everyone. I was like, oh, you can vote for me to be added. So it did. It got on there, and then it was so weird because when it won, I was thinking I have like I don't know 20 clients and friends, and I sent the link to. I mean, how many am I sending the link to? So I sent it like 20 people. So I didn't think I was going to win, especially when the announcer came on and said we had 300 votes. And I was like, oh, there's no way I won because I don't know 300 people. But they were like, the Worthy Chaos won by a landslide. And they announced it like we won 3 different categories. So every time we won, he's like, the Worthy Chaos fans have spoken. It was like a landslide. So it was favorite indie comic. It was best writer. And it was a favorite cover. Now the cover. I don't think I have. Hold on, I have like a print of it somewhere in here. Here we go. So this was the cover that won. I don't know if you could see. I don't know how cameras work. So this is how it looks. If you could see what this be.
That's pretty sick.
So this was actually. Yeah, so this is from a DC artist who worked on Batman, Superman, and Harley Quinn for decades.
That's amazing.
Ken Hunt, absolutely amazing. Colored by, a lot of people know her. I didn't know her before, but Lady Death Universe Interior Colors, CC Dela Cruz colored it. absolutely phenomenal. It got the most likes he ever did on any picture. I know because I stalked his Facebook. It got the most likes. It got the most likes for me. It's also the back cover of the hardcover. But yeah, that's the one that won. It's just a phenomenal cover. And then there was another award. We got finalists, but we didn't get. We didn't win. Because it was. I'm not gonna say that's the reason, but it was a very sexy cover that won. So I can only go far. A zombie fight Anubis versus very busty ladies. I really didn't have a shot there. But I even was like, why would you put me against them? Because they kept cutting down and they picked who they go. I was like, why did you put me against them? But we were a finalist, and because we were a finalist, it got us in with a publisher. Now we're not ever selling the rights or anything like that. But they will. They're looking into distributing our stuff through them. We keep all the rights. We keep everything. They pay to distribute, and we get royalties. So I'm fine with that. They're trying to get us into all the comic book stores, like worldwide or whatever. So here's hoping we get that. But so yeah, it was very nice to get that. It was very exciting to see. I love the sarcastic words. Like I think the Worthy Cast people were definitely in. Like the very loyal. So that was a very good feeling to have that. And as for my team. So we started as a much smaller team when we first started. It was me and my co-writer Jessica, and then it was my artist who did everything. He penciled, inked, lettered, colored everything. For the first seven issues, and then he was severely underpaid. So he had never worked in comics before. This was his first time. So he didn't know what he was doing. I didn't know what I was doing. So he was just anxious to get in, and he was the only one. It took me months to find the artist. There were so many artists that were really amazing, but none of them could see the character in my head. And I don't know what was wrong with them. Like I did not see what's in my head, but they could not get it, and he did. It was such a funny thing too, because what originally happened was I had an original artist who had an original copy of this one. And it was issue 1. They wound up stealing like $3,000 from me, and I lost $5,000 total trying to fix it. And I didn't like it. So it was awful. So I released it. But I found my new artist, I redid it. So I threw away $5,000 because I wanted it to look as good as it could. I was searching for this new artist, and I was so mad at this point, wasting $5,000 in my mind. But I posted the chapter, and it was whoever wants to do a free page, which is now choosing beggar, which I did not realize at the time. I was just mad. I was like, whoever wants to do a free page of it from the script, then we'll be able to keep going. And I'll pay them, obviously, for the page. So I had 5 people working on it, and then Jonas Costa, who's the artist, came and said, "Are you taking more submissions?" And I was like, "Am I taking more free submissions? Yeah, I'm taking whatever." I said, if you want to do a free one, then you can do a free one now. Now look at it first. Or if you want to wait until these 5 are done, I'll pay you for a page. And so he said, "No, I'll do a free one." In 24 hours, he did 5 panels of my character, pencil, ink, everything. And it looked exactly how they were in my head.
Brilliant.
And I'm going to there's like an echo that I hear, by the way.
Sorry.
I don't know if you... I just don't know if everyone else will be able to hear it. So,
it should be all cleaned up, but yeah, it'll be okay. All good.
Because I hear myself talk. So if I stop talking, it's because I'm hearing myself talk. But yeah, so I got him to and that was it. He's been here ever since. But when it was around issue 8, he loved the story. He's like as obsessed as we are. He went away for a month after issue 3. And my husband said, "Don't bother him. Don't message him. Leave him alone." My husband does me so well. He's like, "Just don't bother him." Right. I'm not going to contact him. So 2 weeks in, I get a message from him. He's like, "I miss drawing this story so bad. I can't wait to get home." And I was like, enjoy your vacation. But yeah, I need pages really bad. And then it was a countdown every day. He's like, 10 more days. And then he was mad because he got home and he forgot about a wedding. He was like, oh, I got to do 2 more days. And so he's very obsessed with it. But at the end of issue 7, he's like, listen, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I can't really afford to keep going at this rate, because I'm doing everything. And he's like, but I will. That was like, you couldn't have said it faster. He's like, I will. I will keep going. I'm just letting you know it's slowly killing me. And I was like, well, I don't want that. So even though it made the cost double, I wound up hiring an artist, a colorist, and a letterer, which were the two things he hated the most. He hated color. He doesn't even color anymore for anybody else. Like, he's like, no, I hate coloring. I'm done. And he hated lettering with like an extreme passion. So it worked out great. So now I love my letters so much. He's actually re-lettering issues 1 through 7. So it worked out really well. But yeah, it doubled the price, and it made me nervous because I don't get paid. Everyone gets paid but me. Like until I do Kickstarters. So I don't get any money. So fortunately, my husband said the worst words he could. He said, "Go all out for 2 years," which was a horrible thing for him to say. Our 2 years is just Halloween. So I have spent a fortune, but I have enough covers for the next 2 years. So if I can't buy anything else, I could just pay my artist and I'm good to go. But yeah, so he's amazing. So now we have a bigger team. We have a letterer, SK, who's absolutely phenomenal. He's the one that's so invested in it. He will send me gifts of anger faces when I do something to the character he doesn't like, or something like that. And it cracks me up because when he sees one he likes, he's like, "Can I share this panel?" Yes, you can share this panel. So it's really funny to have these people really invested in it. And our colorist is really great too. Matt Chambers colored these, and they look phenomenal. It's really good. So I'm very lucky to have a team that's very loyal with the story. I mean, my artist. So he's going to school. He started going to school around issue 5, and you could tell his art. I mean, his art was always good to me, but it definitely leveled up, and it keeps leveling up. And he sent me a message like a month ago who's like, listen, I can't stand this Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. Like, he planned it. This was his day. He was going to school. He's like, 4 days is too long to not draw this story. And before anyone says, oh, well, he wants to get paid, he doesn't get paid till it's done. It doesn't matter how fast he does. He doesn't matter how many days are in between. So he changed it where he draws Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so that there's only one day between each one. So and that cracked me up so much because I laughed that he just loved the story so much. And now he has the flu, and he's complaining that he wants to draw. I was like, will you just get better before you die? And during this flu, actually, he posted a meme once. Do you know RoboCop? RoboCop was back in the day, but he was a cop that dies. And they bring him back as a robot to work. So he posted a meme that said, this poor guy died and his boss made him work the next day. And I said, that would be you. Like, you will be come back as a zombie, or I don't care how, I'll chain you up in the basement like Shaun of the Dead, but you're going to have to keep drawing this story. So, yeah. But anyway,
that's brilliant. Yeah. Oh, goodness. All right. Tell everyone about your upcoming releases, where they can get them from, about your Kickstarter, what they can get from your Kickstarter, because we've only got days left, more or less, a couple weeks left to go for your Kickstarter, so they need to know as much about it as possible.
Yeah, so the good thing about our Kickstarter is if you're new coming in, this is very rare. I don't know why all Kickstarters don't do this, but you can actually buy issue 1. You do not have to buy the entire catch-up tier because there's 11 issues. So if you don't know if you don't like it or not, for $5 you can get the PDF of issue 1 and 2. But if you message me, I'll send them for free. So everyone knows. I love the story, and I've sent them to hundreds of people for free when they ask me. But you can buy issue 1 and 2 for $5 for a PDF, or you can buy issue 1 printed for $10. And then that's all you have to buy. It is its own tier. And I've never seen any other Kickstarter do that. Like, some have copied me now, but generally never see that. So you can get one too, but all of the issues, back issues, PDF printed are in the add-ons. So you can get PDF 1 and 2, and then you can go buy 3 and 4 if you want. You don't have to buy a catch-up kit. But you can get a digital catch-up kit for $25. It has all 11 issues in there. So you can have that. But you can just buy issue 11. There's 3 different covers. There's one from Jonas DaCosta. There's one from Vince, who did an amazing cover, and there's one from Kevin Sharp, who is actually a Marvel artist, who, if you look him up, he's on the Marvel page, he's done Thor, he's done tons of Avengers and all that fun stuff, so you're able to look that up. So there's 3 covers to choose from. There's a metal cover you can also choose from. There's a lot of merch, obviously. There's like 4. We have the Skeleton Bird plushie, there's one left. We have Anubis plushie, which is one left.
It's cute ass.
Yeah, I love this. He's our bestseller, believe it or not. I've sold a couple of him. And then we have the Hellhound. And then we have, which it's too far away for me to reach, but we have a zombie mental patient from issue 8, 9, and 10. I think he's in that. His straitjacket is removable. And my mom doesn't like horror, and she doesn't read comic books, but she bought a plushie of the zombie. I don't know why. She thinks he's adorable. So he's here somewhere. I'll have to find him. But yeah, so we have plushies galore. We have necklaces and charms and keychains and all sorts of stuff. So I apologize for the 40 tiers you have to go through, and then the 40 add-ons you have to go through. But you're bound to find something you want in there. So take a good amount of time to look through them and to go through it all. And so, yeah, you can, the simplest way to find our Kickstarter is, I know you'll post a link, but if you search Worthy Chaos on Kickstarter, we're the only thing that pops up. Of course, there's like 11 of us, but you know, we're always on Kickstarter. There's either a live campaign or a pre-launch. We pre-launch the day after it ends. Which I felt bad for the last one. It wasn't ready because Kickstarter haven't approved it. So everyone's like, where's the link? Where's the link for like this year? I'm like, relax, you've got 3 weeks. So when I finally sent it out a week later, I had like 80 followers in like 24 hours because they were like mad that I hadn't done it before. So I thought that was fun. Now they're all pre-approved. So I have the rest of the year pre-approved. There's no more waiting. After it ends, there'll be a pre-launch. Life is good. So, but yeah, search Worthy Chaos. Yeah, we're also on Facebook, TikTok, whatever the hell you call it, X, Twitter, Instagram. I don't know how to use any of those, but I somehow have 5,000 followers on Facebook, 5,000 followers on TikTok, on Twitter X, and like 1,200 on I have no idea how to use Instagram. So if you I just found out the 3 columns. There's primary, there's general, and there's requests, messages. Yep. I feel so bad. I did not answer anybody. I had no idea. I'm like, why does it always say that I have a message? There's no message. Sorry, there was messages. So find me on Facebook.
Wonderful. All right, we'll go through a couple of just some really fun questions before we wrap up. So what's one fun fact about yourself that your readers wouldn't know about?
One fun fact. That's a good question. I when I first started playing Resident Evil 2, it didn't have an instruction manual because I rented it, and my poor character kept walking into the fire. I could not get him to walk. So I threw the controller, all mad at this, and said, "This is stupid. I'm returning it. I want nothing to do with this game ever." My brother, who's 3 years older than me, he's been playing Zelda since he got out of the womb. You know, he came in, he picks up the controller, and he starts playing it. And I'm like, what the hell? Get out of my room. So since he showed me how to do it, I kicked him out, and then I started playing. So if it was not for my big brother being obsessed with games, I would not be here because I would have never played Resident Evil 2, and I would have bought PlayStation for no reason whatsoever. All because of an alligator on a commercial, which I did not connect this later, but another fun fact is I used to dream about an alligator from the age of 5 to like 21. Like every night there was an alligator in it. So maybe it was all meant to be, and I was just, meant to write this comic and go into debt over it or something. I don't know. But here we are. So, but yeah, we
live in hope.
Yeah. So that would be the thing that I'll never forget the fact that I threw the control and I was like, I'm done with it. It was like 4 seconds. I tried 4 seconds to get the character to move, but it's like I couldn't even describe how he moves now because now I know it by heart. But I was just an idiot to begin with. So there we go.
That's so funny and so really cool as well. So really an incredible chat. I loved hearing about so much of that. So that's a huge thank you, everyone. A huge thank you to Corissa Grant for joining us today and for sharing her really inspiring journey and such amazing insights to her book and her world. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show, Corissa.
Well, thanks for having me on, and I'm sorry for the hour of rambling. I appreciate you letting me ramble on about my story. That's why when you told me, like, is there going to be any like silence that I'm like, no, there will be no. I've never been told. Somebody once said to me on my show, they like, oh, I can't do shows because they told me I don't talk enough. I was like, I have never been told that in my entire life ever. So here we are.
Brilliant. I love it. All right, Chaos Crew, if you're as excited as I am about Carissa's upcoming releases and want to keep up with her work, make sure to follow her and check out all of her comics. Trust me, you really don't want to miss out on these stories. I've started reading them myself. I'm already hooked. And don't forget, you can catch this episode and more on the YouTube channel, the Spotify. It's going to be released on most of the podcast channels. And of course, it'll be posted on Facebook and social media as well. And if you enjoyed the stream, please share it with your friends and your fellow comic book lovers as well. Also, stay tuned for any more exciting episodes that will come up, and we'll dive into more worlds of course, tech, cosplay, anime, gaming, artistry, and so much more. Thank you for joining us today. It has been an absolute blast. I can't wait to bring more chaotic fun back again. Until then, everyone, stay creative, stay geeky, and most importantly, stay chaotic. We'll see you next time, Chaos Crew.